Web of Lies by Birdie. Nicola Knight. Summary. Wade is in trouble. Tony is pretty sure he's lying, which means he needs someone to defend him. Will Spider-Man be able to help save Wade from punishment? This is a one shot. And no archive warnings apply here. Let's get into this. You did this, Wilson. You. Tony jabbed his hand against Wade's chest. It was quite a violent point that first Wade back a step. But the idea that some bastard could aggressively threaten him like that. Okay, he's experienced worse from other heroes, but those were heroes, not some drunk with a misplaced grind. Wade looked down to see the finger now inches from his nose was shaking slightly. He wondered whether it would grow back if he snapped it off. Not likely. It's possible ours does. Wade rolled his eyes and ignored the boxers. The boxes. It was a little intimidating to be surrounded by Avengers, especially when he was stuck in the Stark's tower after a heavy battle. He could feel the hostility rolling off of them in waves. He looked around and tried to suppress the desire to act out, as he was vastly outnumbered and didn't want it to serve several weeks trying to pick pieces of brain matter out of his suit. Yuck, it clinged to us. We didn't notice until you pointed it out. Wade rolled his shoulders and felt the dried blood limit his movements and hear the crack of it moving. It was kind of gross how now he thought about it, although the Avengers looked way worse. Heck, Bruce still had a creeping green glow in his eyes, not to mention he was wearing more red than green. I didn't fucking screw up, Stark. We had a plan, Tony snapped. You didn't follow the plan. How can I fucking follow a plan I didn't know existed? Well, even if I knew, I wouldn't have followed it because hey, everyone loves a good improv piece, right? It's like those who line expect whose plan. Still your plan, so your responsibility. Ha! Don't you dare lay this on me. I knew you were way too much of a risk, too. I took a break. So what? It wasn't me. Tony moved to step forward, but Wade bristled and stood straight. He felt his biceps bulge with a fury that he felt, as well as his hands clenched. There was even a squeak from his costume with the strength of his grip. It was hard to remain calm when they kept on pushing his buttons. Okay, so he messed up a lot. Plus, there was always collateral damage whenever he worked on missions, so most insurance companies offered a hefty discount to their clients when their clients uttered deadpool. But still, he tried to still his heart when Steve stepped in, because even after so many relationships and marriages, there was something about Captain America that got the blood racing pretty fast, racing south, more like it. I believe that the quick heart rate is due primarily to anger. The executor decided to put a hand upon Tony to hold him back, whilst the other man tried hard to get past him and make a scene. Realizing he was safe with Steve safeguarding him, he raised his hands in a taunting gesture, grinning behind his mask. It was enough to cause Tony to lunge forward, only to be stopped once more. Bruce looked up, almost lazily, from the sofa nearby as he picked off clumps of what looked like pink silly string from his purple trousers and bare chest. And Natasha stood by a far wall with a rather intimidating position. He blew them a kiss through his mask, but both just glared darkly. Sam sat on a bar stool on the other side of the room, where he smirked and shook his head, and Clint sat next to him with a grin, too. And all in all, it was nice to see the group all together. Sam's Thor. I miss Thor. Guy was ripped. Look, the rocket was mine. I'll admit to any reason you tied a bunch of birds to it. Tony spat. Hey, I knew the guy you were after, Wade argued. He's allergic to feathers. I figured that at least robins are red, plus red's the best color ever. Oh, this is a UK version of color. Ever. So what a better way to get this guy all sneezy and sputtering and incapacitate him. Plus I have splatter rockets. So what would you have done, Stark? Rockets are made to be shipped. Do you ship a rocket? I believe you launched a rocket. Really? It doesn't sound... Really? That doesn't sound right. Tony took a step back, glared darkly at Wade. The battle was over, and he honestly wasn't sure what was the Tin Man's problem. It wasn't as if Wade could remember doing anything he shouldn't, although he admitted his memory was spotty at best. But he would have remembered doing something to piss off the Avengers, right? Wade lifted his mask just enough to bare his face before he turned his head to spit on the floor. There was a swirl of blood in the saliva, whilst Tony winced and made it to divide forward, but Wade only laughed and rubbed over the leftover trail on his chin. But Wade only laughed and rubbed the leftover trail on his chin. Tony was easy to tease. You need to be initiated. You need to be You need to be institutionalized, spat Tony. Ouch, right where it hurt. Wade laughed. It made the pain so much easier. The needles always started as a sharp sting, something that pierced his skin and burned his flesh. Until he went through the vein, would tear into. Those were the good days. Samples taken, notes written, bridges burned. He tried to remember how it felt before his skin itched. There were times when he wanted to scratch it off. The pain was worse, always worse, but the itch came first. Sometimes. Maybe he didn't fear the itch, but feared the lack of pain. A lack of pain meant more pain was to come. Only only breaks, never ends. He wanted to run away, but they always brought him back. You did volunteer, but you're in our care now. They knew it was for the best. The first doctors with their resentment, always chemicals, never leather or chains. He missed the leather and chains. It was at least they were fun when they were for play and not purpose. The second doctor was not a doctor, but a barbarian. White coats, red lagers, dark shadows. Got to make it stop. Got to make the pain stop. No. Death is always in the shadow, just out of reach. The tease. He tried over and over. You can't kill yourself, right? Failure. Death came. Wrong person. The blood was on his hands. He wanted vengeance. Ghosts in his head or real. He couldn't breathe. It oppressed him like the biggest prison of all, with his head in a vice-like grip, a weight on his chest. Panic. Yes, panic. He tried over and over to fight the fear, but so many hospitals and doctors and experience, no one wanted to help, only hinder. Funny word. The voice was good company. The voice understood. The second voice was mad, but it understood too. Did that make him mad? The world spun on and on, but none of it was real. They wrote him this way. They thought his pain was funny. They're laughing now. No, you're trying to make sense of the streams of consciousness, trying to make sense of me. I'm not that easy. No, I'm not going back there. It's beginning. This madness. Don't send me back. Don't write me that way. Don't make me crazy. Don't go back to the pain. Oh God, he was crying with laughter. Oh. Wade raised a hand to his mask to wipe away the tears, but he forgot with the mask he was untouched. He was unable to touch the skin. It was a blessing in a way. Lately, he was going through a bad patch with his skin, and it was unbearable on bad days. Hell, even the touch of the sheets in bed were enough to make it feel like a friction burn, and yet the prospect of pain wasn't what bothered him. He was used to pain, for fuck's sake. It was more than he let the mask. It was more that he let the mask define him, so that he knew forget what was real and what wasn't. Was he the mask now? He felt his blood running cold. He gritted his teeth until he was half certain he felt one crack and opened them enough to put his tongue between them, until he bit it through his tongue instead. The taste of blood made him feel sick. It made him want to spit again, which he did, but this time it was without the good humor of before. When he finished, he lowered his mask and glared at Tony. The fury was all consuming. Just fucking try to lock me away. He spat. Tony blanched and looked ready to attack, but a cough came from the side. It caused him to turn and look. In the center, someone was dangling from the ceiling, and all of a sudden, Wade felt his heart platter and his palms grow sweaty. He swallowed hard, trying to fight back the waves of his interest he felt on seeing Spider-Man, because he knew he had less of a chance with Spidey than he did with Black Widow. Still, it didn't hurt. I got a dream, and loads of best romances were based on friendship, and weren't the best friendships based on accidentally throwing a guy off the bridge? Sure, no. Plaintiff for the defense, Spidey said. Spidey, Spidey's going, Spidey's going to defend me. Wade clapped his hands together. I knew you loved me. Don't get me wrong. I would have loved She-Hulk back in my gaze. Shulky. That chick's training in this sort of stuff. Not to mention the Team Red. Remember that I'm not so. That I so suspect. Shut it, Wade. Shut it, Wade. Don't make me change my mind. Hey, don't be mean, baby. Spider-Man shot web over Wade's mouth. It left Wade glaring at him through his mask as he muttered several curses before finally ripping the webs away. It stuck to the palm and kind of felt weird. You know? How'd you know with gloves? Kind of weird. How'd you know with gloves? It kind of reminded you of something. It's not warm enough for it that way. Wade barely noticed when Spider-Man dropped down and walked over to stand by his side. But strangely, he didn't notice that he was the only person in the room with a secret identity. It was not hard to feel that had resentful at that. Want to tell me what my client did? Spider-Man asked. You know what he did, Tony cried. That rocket went off as soon as, which, trust me, is not a sentence I've ever preferred to say before, no matter what Pepper says. It gave our guys an escape route where suddenly pink frosting. I don't even know how you got that much pink frosting, but it covered us on our exit and it let the bad guys escape. Guess who strolled around the corner with the tacos and pearls of laughter? Did he say he was on a break? I'm not the one with iron in my ears, so I might have misheard of that. But I've been hanging around here since the conversation began. It sounded like he was on break. The rockets can be pre-programmed. Rockets can be programmed too. You would know that, Tony. Awfully convinced it was a pre-programmed in my way that guy got away. Look, I helped made the rocket. I was right. Who want to blame me? You're Spider-Man, not Deadpool. Ouch. That's gotta sting. Way to realize that Birdie had helped him program the rockets, as the idea was to use it as a distraction to force the guy to use his front exit, which Wade would add he did end up using, so really his plan worked. Also, he also refused that realized that Spider-Man was missing too because he was called away somewhere, but no one blamed him. But who would? Oh, Wade was a bad guy. It was a role he was happy to play, only he didn't want to be a hero. He didn't want to be a hero. Only he did want to be a hero. He did. It was just hard to try when no one cared about his efforts. Still, Spider cared. He looked around the room to see a few of the Avengers leaving, whilst Tony looked somewhat red in the face and pretty pissed. But it was hard to care much what that old drunk thought when he didn't care about Wade in turn. Spider-Man scratched at his neck and walked over to the rather laid-back manner until he was directly in front of Wade. And Wade noticed that the younger man was going commander again, which was not a bad thing, because damn he had a quarter you could bounce an ass off of. I don't think that's right. He could have covered it in frosting and wait, that's right. Why did he forget? I don't even like the mint kind. Wade muttered. He is right, said Spider-Man. He doesn't. I bought some pastries with pink frosting this one time. He dropped it into some pedestrian's head. A reporter took a photo. I was on the front page as a menace to society. The mother hugger left me 56 pink frosting pastries as an apology. I think I gave them to the children who were in the hospital, but yeah, he likes them just about as much as he likes chimichangas. Trust me. Is that right? Tony said coldly. I have it on good authority that your friend was a big fan of chimichangas. Anyway, it's not as though he planned to eat the damn stuff. You wanted to explain how he was just right at the how was he? Ooh, you want to explain how he was okay. You want to explain how he appeared right the exact moment to laugh at us. Isn't that circumstantial evidence? Isn't it up to you to prove? Isn't it up to you to prove he's guilty? Not me. He's innocent. This isn't a court of law, Spider-Man. I don't need evidence. Evidently, quipped Spider-Man. Wade smiled behind his mask. It was actually kind of nice to know Spidey paid attention to him, because he had forgotten about all the most important stuff at times. Yeah, chimichangas was a fun word to say, especially if you chanted it, but they tasted kind of funny, and they weren't the best Mexican cuisine. Fuck it, Spider-Man could get him off. He let him take a bite of the biggest chimichanga ever. That wasn't even a euphemism. Actually, if Spider-Man wanted to take a bite of that, Wade wouldn't say no. But then that would be a treat for Wade and not one for Spidey. So yeah, actually, chimichangas it was. Look, I was with him when this went down. It wasn't him. You were with him, Tony said skeptically. Yes, Spider-Man lied. I wanted some food, so I ditched duties to go get some. I didn't think you guys would run into any problems with a routine mission, so I guess you guys had an accomplice that owed Wade. So I guess you guys have an accomplice that owes Wade an apology. The good kind, not the sarcastic kind. Tony rolled his eyes and looked to Wade. The mercenary raised his hand in a mocking gesture of surrender. Unsure whether the question Spidey's lies or just roll with it. But clearly Tony had too much of an iron rod up his ass to apologize, because he instead turned on his heels and stormed away, while Steve and Natasha followed. That left Spidey and Wade alone to lounge without anyone around. It was nice, almost like a date, but not quite. Wade clasped his hands together and leaned dreamily into Spidey's face. This was awesome, I suppose. Okay, so the white box isn't a euphemism, but he was probably just jealous. Spidey was a little shorter than Wade, which was so adorable, but he knew how to take charge and could put those webs to good use. The other man walked out a little bit, as if to make sure that everyone was gone before he turned around with a heavy sigh and slumped his shoulders just a little. Wade wondered whether he could hire Spidey as a personal lawyer because he was just so awesome. Wait, why did Spidey sigh? Did he do something wrong? He hated when Spidey was disappointed because I usually meant he was disappointed in Wade, but Wade was trying so hard to be a hero, and I'm sorry I got you in trouble, said Spider-Man. Hey, you got me off, baby boy. Ooh, that sounds dirty. It's true, though. You know, I have this poster of you above my bed. It's the best. Still, my Spidey web's aside because, well, I can't shoot that far, so no complaining really. Wait. What did you stick up for your perverted ass? Well, I borrowed the Iron Spidey costume that Tony's been working on, which would have been fine except I made some adjustments. The pink frosting is actually a developer of web fluid I used in my web shooters, as I was working on something that would be more durable in the long run. But I miscalculated the amount, and instead of white webs, pink foam happened. Wade burst out into laughter. He clapped a hand upon Spidey's shoulder before he bent down doubled, and he felt himself begin to cry with the force of laughter. Eventually, Spider-Man shot his mask with webbing again. It was easy enough to remove, but it didn't stop Spider-Man from continuing his assault and webbing him down to the ceiling, where Wade found himself unable to struggle as he was too busy laughing, even as it caused him to cocoon in a shake and waver. He eventually had stopped, only to start again. It's not that funny, Wade. Spider-Man snapped. Oh, it is. I have leverage now, Wade said. Say, I know a guy like you, probably taken already, but what about a date? The pink frosting can be on me, unless you don't swing that way. Get it? Swing, 'cause I get it. I have a girlfriend, but you can be on a platonic date, sure. Aw, serious. Yes, fine. Still, if you guys ever break up, then we can go on a real date, sure. Wade smiled brightly. Even as Spider-Man rubbed the bridge of his nose through his mask, and as he mentally planned the date in his head, the other man began to slowly walk away, which would have been fine, but he needed to be. Last time he was tied up and needed to be, well, it took him pages to actually do it, but he was so desperate. How long does this webbing take to dissolve? I think it depends on the universe. That sounds a bit deep. Dude. No, I mean, damn it, if he pieced himself like this, it would go all over his face. Spidey, can you untie me? Please, pretty please. Just hang around for a while, said Spider-Man. I want to get down now. Spider-Man flipped him off and walked away. Eventually he'd be back because he was a pretty stand-up guy, unlike the other Avengers. But that could be ages. He needed to pee now. Damn it! Spidey was already gone. When it began to fidget and clutch, he tried to stop from peeing. He wondered whether there was some playful teasing, like flirting or something, because if so, he could deal with that. He's so into us. Of course. Look at us. Oh, yeah. He likes us. Oh, yeah. He likes us. And that's the end of the story. This is very entertaining. I started over So many words. Jesus. Anyway, I can take this off of my list of ones to read now. So, yeah. Don't mind the background noise. It's my parents. Anywho, see you guys in the next video. Bye. Cupcake and Cap.